Hello, and welcome back to the podcast where you are invited for lighthearted conversations about things that matter as you seek to live your most meaningful, beautiful, and joyful life. I'm your host, Dr. Edie Wadsworth, and I hope you enjoy your stay here at the House of Joy. Hey, everybody, the event of the year is back. If you are ready to light up 2026 with joy, purpose, and fire, join me for my 3-day live virtual event called Made for More. It's designed to help you rediscover your highest, most loving, most alive self. And warning, Made for More, which is going to be January 7th through 9th at noon Eastern, with replays, by the way, may cause sudden bursts of joy and wild hopes and new dreams. It's time to stop living in survival mode and start creating a life that sets your soul on fire. Join us at Made for More at ediewadsworthcoaching.com/more. I can't wait to see you there. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to House of Joy. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm so glad you're here. I have an amazing story to tell you that I think you're going to enjoy. I think you're really going to relate to it. I had a moment a few days ago that kind of changed how I see Christmas. I was about to get in the car to buy more gifts, and instead I did something else that left me calmer and clearer and so grounded. It definitely wasn't on my to-do list, but it showed me something that I think so many of us are missing right now, especially this time of year. So if you've been feeling heavy, unmotivated, or like something inside you is waiting to be named, then this episode is for you. What I discovered has nothing to do with Christmas shopping and everything to do with the way that we're living. So let me tell you what happened. My sister called and asked me if I wanted to go Christmas shopping. And I was on my way home from Grammy Day with my grandbabies. And so I was already coming through Knoxville, and I had so many things that I thought I needed to get. I was feeling that, that panicky moment when you're like, maybe you're having it right now when you listen to this podcast and it's 2 days before Christmas, when you're like, oh man, I didn't get that or that or that. And my mind felt so cluttered. I couldn't exactly even remember what I had already bought. And even though I really wanted to go and just enjoy time together, and I could have just done it for that reason, I decided not to. And I decided, which is unlike me because I'm very spontaneous. Although I will say sometimes when I'm with those grandbaby boys, I feel like I've been attacked by two bears. So I decided not to go. And I said, you know what? Maybe we'll go at the first of the week, but I need to get home and kind of see what I have. And so I came home, and then the next morning, by the way, we had one of those amazing weekends where we didn't have anything to do. It was so glorious. So I woke up at like 5 o'clock on Saturday morning, and I spent 2 hours. I got everything out that I had bought, and it had it on my kitchen island, kind of spread around my kitchen, started making, lists to make sure, started wrapping things and putting them in their right places. And after that, again, it didn't take that long. I would say a couple of hours. After that 2 hours, I felt like I was on top of the world. I'm like, oh my gosh, you know what? I don't have that much more, just a couple more things. I'm so glad that I didn't go shopping on Friday without doing this first, because I probably would have bought plenty of things that I didn't really need. And I don't know, I just felt so much better, got all of my boxes that I needed to ship for our kids that live in other places. So I got all of those in the mail. Anyways, that 2 hours really was just glorious, and ended up just doing some baking that day and finishing up decorating. It was such a glorious Saturday before Christmas. But it reminded me of something really important that I love to talk to my own clients about. It reminded me of how we can have this feeling in our lives where it feels cluttered, where you feel kind of heavy. You're not sure why. You feel a little stuck. My clients tell me this all the time, because a lot of times when I'm trying to get them to dream again or figure out what they really want in their life, a lot of times they don't know. And I know that the reason they don't know is because they don't have, their life is really cluttered on the inside. And I think that something like what I did on Saturday morning is what each of us should probably do before Christmas, so that we can really, really enjoy this season for the magic and the gift and the beauty that it is. And this won't take long, and I'm going to to show you how to do it. So bear with me, but I want to explain a couple of things before I do. So we basically have two main emotional states. We have our sympathetic state. This is kind of two ways in which our nervous system exists. Our sympathetic state, which is fight or flight survival mode, feeling rushed and stressed and heavy and kind of closed. I often feel like this emotional state is where you feel tight and contracted and closed. It's also the state where you want to fight or you want to flee, or you want to, they call it fawning, where you kind of do this thing where you're just trying to people please other people so that it's basically a way to keep yourself safe. So, or you can freeze. That's the other thing that you do in this emotional state where you just kind of freeze or feel numb. How many of you, by the way, have felt like that over the last 2 weeks? I think a lot of us, especially us women who, bear the burden often for making all of this holiday magic, we can feel like that, like, oh, I just don't even know what to do next. Our other emotional state is our sympathetic nervous system. And that state it's a very open state. It's expanded. It's when you feel your most creative. It's when you feel your most relaxed. That's this nervous system state that supports digestion and intimacy. It's kind of our favorite emotional state to be in. And we were designed to live in that emotional state most of the time. But what has happened over the last, I don't know how long, I would say 20, 30, 40 years, is that so many people live in that fight or flight state all the time where, and listen, trust me, this is this emotional state that I lived in for way too much of my own life. And, in that emotional state, you don't feel good when you're in that sort of stressed survival. It's sort of the default state of your brain. Your brain likes to find problems and it likes to get you worked up about them. And it's not to say that we don't actually have some actual problems, but most things that we get all worked up about, if we didn't get so worked up about it, it would turn out fine. I'll give you another example of when I got in that state of being just this very weekend. So, as most of you may know, I have a very rambunctious, adventurous 13-year-old, my Tommy boy. And it was beautiful weather this weekend, so he decided to take his four-wheeler out. And the thing that we said to him before he left, because he is known to do this, is, Tommy, don't go down where it's soft on the lake bed and get your four-wheeler stuck, because he got it stuck just the day before. And he got it stuck, I don't know, a few months ago, and we had to have our neighbor come and help us get it out. Anyways, he calls me on the phone and he goes, come down here and bring the golf cart right now. And I'm like, Tom, what's going on? Just come down here right now. Well, I knew what it was. And I got down there and I just saw it and my heart sank. You know that feeling when you're like, I can't believe this. I can't believe he did this. And here's what I know about every instance that has happened like that over the years that Tommy has been in our family. It's all going to be okay. And not only that, an hour from now, I'm going to think that it was funny, or I'm going to find the humor in it. Dare I say the joy in it. But I was mad, and I was really mad for, like, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes. And he goes, well, if you're just going to keep scolding me, then just leave. And so that kind of convicted me. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll help you figure it out. Well, he wasn't really stuck in the mud, but he had driven his four-wheeler over this big, giant log. And I need to post this on Instagram, because when I took a picture of how raised up the four-wheeler was on this log, only one side of it where the wheels were touching the ground, I'm like, we're never going to be able to get this thing out of here. And hence me being in a very much a sympathetic nervous system state, where I was, irritated and frustrated and closed and contracted and wanted to stay that way. You know how when you're in a state like that, you want to stay that way. You don't want to let it go. You don't want to find the humor in it. But I know, because I've been in this situation too many times with him. I'm like, I know this is going to be funny, this is one of those things we'll talk about. Again, I'm talking about it already one of these days. So I finally just let go of, because I've been practicing this a long time, you guys. I finally just let go of my attachment to being frustrated. And then you start to get in like problem solving mode, and I'm over there trying to help it, and I'm standing on one side of it, and we're all kinds of things that we tried, and our sweet little neighbor's like, "Hey, do you guys need help?" And I said, "No, I think we can get it." All the while going, I have no idea how we're going to do it. But anyways, probably 30 minutes later, he's so smart. He figured out how to get it unstuck. And the way he got it unstuck, he just was like on the side of it, like pulling it over and then giving it gas, and he got it unstuck. It was kind of like brilliant the way he did it. Anywho, we laughed. I took videos of it. It's one of those things that, we'll talk about for a long time. We'll tell our family when we get to our ski trip together. It was one of those times. And it always reminds me that I get so attached to the negative side of the story, even though I know that probably in some period of time ahead, I'll work through it and it'll be fine. And what I have learned to teach myself how to do is to do it faster. So Stevie and I have practiced this for years. I can't remember the last time we've been like had any like been mad at each other or anything for very long. We just know like, okay, the place we want to get to is restoration, openness, joy, laughter, whatever. How can we get there faster? But we love holding on to this negative story because that's how our brains are wired. So I say this because maybe you have something in your life right now. You probably do, because it's 2 days before Christmas. And you have to I want you to ask yourself, which emotional state am I mostly operating in? Am I mostly in that sort of frustrated, fight or flight, stressed out, seeing all the problems? Or am I in that open, receiving, parasympathetic, powerful emotional state where I can experience love and joy and laughter and freedom and abundance and possibility? Because here's the thing. When you spend most of your life and most of your days in that shut down emotional state, you don't like how it feels. You don't like how you relate to other people. It only begets more of that. So not only do you feel that way, but then you start to see everything through that lens. Everything starts to feel awful. Everything starts to feel frustrating. Everything starts to feel like it's going wrong. And when you're in the other emotional state, the more powerful emotional state, you start to see possibility and creativity, and you see the joy and the lightness, the adventure in things. And you have to ask yourself, which emotional state do I want to live my life in? Well, let me tell you something. As a physician and as a scientist myself, your body doesn't do well living in that sympathetic state. As a matter of fact, it creates disease and illness and premature death. So it's really important that we learn how to live in the emotional state that we were created to live in most of the time. It doesn't mean that you never have moments of that. It just means you know how to get yourself back to where you know you want to be quicker and faster. Now, the reason that I bring up the Christmas gift thing is because you can't learn how to live in that open state and create that powerful emotional state if you haven't processed your life. So we all have to take some time where we just get everything out on the table, where we're willing to process our lives, where we're willing to acknowledge, oh, I was holding on to some resentment right there. Oh, I was feeling left out right there. I was experiencing some rejection right there. Oh, yeah, there was some grief that I didn't deal with right there. It's like we have to get our stuff out on the table so we can acknowledge. It's like you kind of have to, I used to describe it to my clients all the time, where you carry this emotional backpack. We feel like we don't have time to process our lives as they're going. So we just stuff everything in this backpack. Well, at some point, before we fill it with more stuff, we got to lay everything out on the table. Now, the reason we don't do this is because we say to ourselves, If I ever did unload that backpack, boy, it would be bad. We think it's going to take forever. We think that it's going to bring up things that we can't handle. And that's just not true. Emotions are just energy and they need to move through us. They're not meant to be stored in a backpack and carried around. And you're not going to be able to, because think of that feeling that we love, that sort of Christmas magic, that feeling of feeling love and joy and peace and gratefulness and abundance and that sort of magic that we love to experience this time of year. Listen, that's not a Christmas emotional state. That's just the emotional state we were meant to live in. And we can't live in it if we're not willing to lay things out on the table, take a look at them. Oh, yeah, I was holding on to this. Oh, yeah, I was making this into way more of a problem than it needed to be. Oh, what if I just let go of this? What if I just allowed this emotion to, metabolize through me? What if I just allowed this to, what if I didn't make it such a problem? So, I say that not to say that we don't have actual things that we want to hold on to some negative emotions. We want to experience negative emotion about. But my question for you is this. If we really do believe that God is for us, that he loves us, that everything in our lives he somehow will turn to good, if we had faith in that and believed in that, I think it would allow us to shift our emotional state to a place where we actually want to be living, where we would enjoy our lives so much more. We would enjoy our relationships so much more because those unprocessed, unopened, unacknowledged emotions don't just disappear. They turn into exhaustion. They turn into numbness. They turn into that quiet sense of feeling stuck. When you look around and you think, well, everybody else is fine but me. And that emotional state is not the emotional state that we want to be living in. That's our primal state. That's our survival state. So if you think of it as like your survival way of living versus your creation way of living. And when you live in survival mode, your body's always braced for the next thing that's going to go wrong. And trust me, when you're looking for things to go wrong, they will. You'll notice them everywhere. It's like your nervous system is in this mode of protecting you. And when it's protecting you and bracing, it can't receive all the gifts that this life has for us, all the gifts that just being alive every day has for us. And especially, I think, this time of year when we feel this pressure and it's hard for us to really be present, I want you to give yourself just a few minutes today. If you gave yourself a few minutes to acknowledge where have you been holding on to something that you don't want to hold on to? Where have you been just feeling heavy and stressed and you don't even know why? Acknowledge it, say it out loud, maybe do a little journaling, take a little inventory, and just decide to let some things go. Just decide that you don't want to live in that default survival, stressed out state all the time. You want to live in that state where your body feels safe enough to breathe, to feel, to dream again, to imagine, to connect with people, to feel desire, to notice the beauty around you, to hear those little nudgings from God. This is how we were created to live most of our lives. You can't create a beautiful life from survival. You can't experience that Christmas magic from that stressed out state. What can you notice right now in your life where you can acknowledge the beauty, acknowledge the gift, even if you have a lot of hard things going on? Just take a minute and pause and breathe. Are you right now okay? Are you right now experiencing somewhat of a blessing? I bet you are. And I will tell you this, the world is always responding to you. That emotional state that you're living in, the world is always responding to that. When you live in survival mode, the world then feels hard and demanding and overwhelming. And when you live in creation mode, that same world feels to you like it's alive and full of possibility, and nothing outside of you has changed. What changed is the you inside. And this is so, so, so important. You can't create a life you love, a life you love, a life you're obsessed with that feels vibrant and alive if you're emotionally full of a life that you haven't dealt with, crowded and cluttered inside, unprocessed emotions, old disappointments, grief you never let yourself fully feel, desires you talked yourself out of. When your inner world is crowded, there's no more room to create. But here's the good news. This doesn't take forever. Most emotions don't need months of analysis. They need just a few minutes of your presence. They just need acknowledging, actually. So breathe through them, acknowledge they're there, and just decide to let them go. Let them move through you. I don't want to hold on to this resentment. I want to acknowledge that I was hurt there and that I'm not doing myself any favors by holding on to this resentment. And when you stop resisting what you feel, your body will naturally shift out of survival mode and you will start to wake up and you will start to feel that love and joy and peace. And I think this is why Christmas can remind us of what really matters to us. God didn't come in the world in force or urgency. He came soft and present as a baby, this Emmanuel God with us. I love this idea that when we lay all of these things out on the table, he's with us right there in the middle of our humanity, forgiving us for where we've held on to things, comforting us in our grief, right there with us. This Christmas magic isn't seasonal. It's the state we were made to live in because that's what it means to have God with us. Now we're safe. And that state of being is available all the time. And where are we just not letting it in, not letting it be? And this is exactly what we're going to practice, what I'm going to teach you all about inside Made for More. So if you haven't joined the workshop, you guys, do yourself a favor. It's 2 days before Christmas when you're listening to this, maybe. Do yourself a favor. Sign up for that workshop for the price of a Starbucks. And we will teach you step by step how to shift the emotional state that you're living in so that your life can change, so that you can experience a life on fire and inspired, so that you can create a life you actually love on purpose. We're going to dream and design and create a life that you don't need a vacation from, not from pressure, but from true presence. Your highest life doesn't begin someday. It begins the moment you choose to create it on purpose. So if you're tired of living in the survival mode, take a few minutes today and just decide that you are going to be willing to accept all the gifts around you, every little miracle that's begging you to notice it. And if you're having trouble doing that, or if you want to learn how to do it in an even more powerful way, join us for Made for More. We'll put the link in the show notes. I hope you have a blessed and wonderful and magical Christmas season. I'm so thankful for you. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Love you so much. Bye for now.